She cowers as she enters the doors, her fingers cupping each other as if to reassure her exhausted self that the dreaded journey has finally come to an end. The glaring burden which she has carried for so long weighs down on her heavily, her spirit ready to share her story with anyone who is willing to listen. For a moment, she is dazed as she suddenly recalls why she is in this space. She did it again. Ruvarashe did not come back home. She knows her 2-year-old has stopped asking after her. After all, how can she ask after a corpse? A corpse. Death brought about by a drug that not only kills its user, but family relationships, the love, the warmth, and the accountability. A drug that leaves children exposed to the unforgiving and unpredictable weathers of life that rip mercilessly at the little life left within its victim's blood. She hesitates, but still enters the yard, unsure of what lies ahead. This is the story of Sifelani Phiri, a mother of 4 who has since adopted her 5th in the form of her 2-year-old granddaughter Mufaro after her 19-year-old mother Ruvarashe was caught up in the spiral of drug addiction. Like Sifelani, hundreds of other mothers are in the throes of mental anguish, hoping, praying, wishing that their children will someday overcome the same spiral. Much to her dread, a ghostly figure enters Sifelani's home shortly after she does. Hair unkempt, dusty, barefoot and clad in a black lacy frock that has seen many things that the mouth would shudder to utter. 2-year-old Mufaro clings helplessly to her grandmother, uncertain of what this former shadow of her mother will do next. For the little girl did try to embrace her before, only to experience a reception colder than the most unforgiving winter. The whole house is filled with unsettling apprehension. What will she do next? Surprisingly, she sits, realizing that there are visitors in the house, but only after demanding $1 from her mother in exchange for peace. She decides to tell her story.
2018. Anatanga kuraguka zvingotedzerana zvingofurirana nemafilmu but pandazombosiya 2020 saka ndakatanga kurova pa ndakasiya 2019 ndane nhumbu muna January andasanga kurova 2020 pandakatanga kurova 2020 yange zvezve kuti ndiri munani mwana zvizvo momzi mamwe mashoko anombobudisa mamwe inini ndiri munhu mumwe munhu asingatozvinzwisise anobudisa mamwe mashoko ekuti zvamupedza zvangondituma ngoti ndinoita sei ngodzokera hangu kuguka kozi ndikarova guka pana zvandomufunga hapana chandonzwa brain dzangu handitofunge nditori munhu asingafunge nechingoita chero zvandaita saka ndokandikabva ndatanga kurova chiguka futi until nanhasi totovaguka but pamwe pacho havatomuzvizive pamwe pacho vanofungidzira
sekutotara kwamanzi komunoita marashi kuti anotori nekamentality kekuti mene handimune because varashe 1 handi kutsungwa ini ndiri munozoshowa nehasha kuti vana handitombo I think inini kukutorerwa kwatakaitwa kwokuti mwana unofanira kungoziva kuti zvinhu zvandiri kuita kana zviri wrong suicide told what this is wrong kana zviri right what's what is zviri right saka varasha hadi lifestyle yekuudzwa kuti zvaari kuita zviri wrong anotobelieve kuti iye zvese zvaanoita ndiye right.
Ruva also decries her mother's indifference to her attaining some kind of vocational training and that all she needs is a chance to make something out of her life.
ndikataura kuti daenda kuchikoro ndikataura daenda kuchikoro ini daenda kuchikoro daita baking inenge ingori oraiti last term ndakatoza ndikati pari kuvhura vamwe zvikoro daenda kuchikoro ndaita baking oraiti ndikupinda mutaundi oraiti unoenda apo namuzari oraiti nanjezoti inini oraiti echo chapera rini ipapapo handina hangu zovaudza but ndaitoshira kuti pavhura vamwe ndiwaniko ndichitoenda kuchikoro ndichitoenda zvandoita handiri kuramba ndakagara because the time andoramba ndakagara ndo the time andosokeri kana ndaudzwa tumashoko tisoriwo ndobuda ndoenda madrug.
Community psychologist Noreen Dari is of the view that relationships within the family setup do produce a ripe environment for drug and substance abuse.
The relationship between the parents or the caregiver and the child is also embedded with a lot of things that include how we are relating with the child. Let me also say this. It's a common cultural practice where people believe in the use of corporal punishment, maybe also insult hailing, shaming the child as a way of disciplining the child. These have been demonstrated or adequately researched and noted that they do have a negative impact on the child's well-being. So we can't exactly say this on its own can push a child into substance abuse, but we are saying it creates a very ripe environment for such things to start taking place. Sometimes it could be maybe there is a lot of violence in the home. Maybe the child is always feeling ridiculed. Maybe they are always feeling shamed. Maybe, sometimes maybe there's withdrawal of food or certain things that are being done in the home. And this child feels misunderstood.
Ruva states that the detachment has also cascaded to her 2-year-old daughter, who has even begun calling her names. Perhaps evidence of how drug use strips role model status from young mothers. It is quite clear that Ruvarashia's drug use has strained her relationship with her family, mostly her mother Sifelani, who she blames for leaving her at the most vulnerable stage of her life to go to South Africa to earn a living. But just what kind of impact does the absence of parents have on a child's development and outcome? Community psychologist Noreen Dari explains.
When a parent is absent, we want to acknowledge the fact that sometimes there could be caregivers who step into the parenting role, and it's important that it's done well. But for some children, the absence of their parent or the withdrawal of their parent in the initial stages, some children may struggle more with it than other children. So it's important that maybe when this withdrawal is done, whether because the parent has to leave to go maybe to work in a foreign country, or maybe the parent has to go and work in a separate suburb, or maybe the parents have to be elsewhere, it is important that parents take time to sit down with their children and help them process these emotions. It might not be a big thing for the parent, but maybe for the child, they look at it and it looks like this is such a big thing, I'm going to lose my parents. We can imagine when you've got younger children, when you just step out of a room, it's so catastrophic to them. Sometimes they feel you're gone like forever until you reappear and they're happy. So no matter the stage that our children are in, it's important that we actually have those conversations with them, help them prepare for the eventual absence of a parent. Where necessary, maybe seek professional support to help the children process this separation, because any separation is a form of a loss. They've lost the presence of their mother or their father. They've lost maybe the support that comes with their presence, and they may find themselves needing to process it. So when they are absent, the child now has to deal with possibly two things. the loss or the absence of a parent and them not being able to figure it well or navigate it well.
Sfelani continuously bears the burden of her daughter's addiction. As a mother, she was faced with the biggest dilemma: to stay at her well-paying job in South Africa or to return to help her daughter fight her drug addiction. Sfelani chose her daughter.
South Africa, phone calls, I'm a messenger. But when my family members wanted to get a mind,
How did Sfelani find out about Ruvarashe's drug problem?
I did get some bulb. Little did we know he and Janning as visage. Tazoting Musi, Tara cleaning in bedroom, Musi, not to Taranizaki. It was a decision that cleaning, that police they washing it, this no watch, this clinically. Tauna to my bulb, to my wire, to one of 3-star, to my packets, to my empty sachets, to get book. Tazosanga and the camera put on a sold, cost sold. Davanga Buddha. Famanchi Funza, and the name of the Siachim. Gaman, no put what in my bow. In deny equipment, yes, is in the Ranza. No time and the
Sfelani has had her share of Ruvarashe's character flaws, she explains.
I mean, drag is really spoke. Drag if. The right what I pretend is supposed to be. Maprista ni vanhu maprista vanozviziva isusu ndisaisaziva azoenda zvikanzi sezvo mangoita izvozvo vataunzwa saidra kudaunzwa saidra mami baba shwari atorwa enda nababa wake kuda kuenda nani zvikanzi aida kutaura nadhida kuti dhedhi vangu varipo apinda nadhedhi wake muofisi machaplain wechikadzi. The next thing inini ndandakunzi enda kuseri kwekaunda mami masunga.
Ruvarashe and Sfelani's relationship is clearly strained. But what sacrifices has Sfelani made to accommodate her daughter Ruvarashe?
Ruva Muna too demanding. Besides the matter, I got to put her in family motors, Russia is demanding. Russia will take a man of tea. I can't know who's in my biggest and Mazand. You are my big and knowing in Andy. And I cannot tell us on Chateau with that. Scamaitas of the day. And I come to tolerate because I can go to blame that maybe someone on that share standard drum dumbo it ram pomoki. I want to blame. I tried to go. It is she took in position. I kind of go on January. And younger from 3, kind of January, February. It's time to what you are going to go say, train when I was going. We are seeing an hour or 2 hours of lunch books. I'm not in the pay man. Someone on church. Don't get the lunch books in the new my sister. I can mom up the lunch books. And become a mazine, chewing and Didi. And I'm Mariaki. In the Adidula. No values of dinner, and drink it when you are second Jagamu tolerator. Did you talk when Naku tried Tintimu call me Johnson are with it in the Gangada made such coach, poor Madame made such a good. Trying to explain why Varashe is no Miras again. Varashe type of money as not to be single and married. Was the one I'm about a dollar. A fungal dollar, Murula, dollar busting a murder. I know what you need to pay was in the bedroom to pay.
This story is not only synonymous with Sfelani Piri. A few blocks from where she resides is Sharon Chinengo, mother of 21-year-old Takawira Chigumba, who has also fallen prey to drug and substance abuse.
Ndine mwana wangu mukomana ni 21 years anonzi Takawira Chigumba. Ari kuita zvemadrugs. Ari kutora crystal meth iyo inonzi mutoriro kana kuti guka. Takawira akatanga ndofunga ari kumaform 2 but ndakanonoka kuzviziva kuti ari kutora madrugs. Akatanga anga asingaende kuchikoro achitiza kuchikoro, maticha ondidedza voti haasi kuenda kuchikoro. akarohwa tikamurova kumba obva ati ndandiri kustudio kumbari because anoita zvemusic. Saka akazoti form 3 akazoti hachada chikoro ndobva asiya chikoro. Saka ndobva angotanga kuramba achingoita izvo zvemadrugs izvi. Saka ndaitoita basa rekuti akasarara kumba ndotanga kubvunza vanhu kuti makambomuona here, totanga kumutera kumabhesi kwachiona kwavanenge vachiitira zvemutoriro. Ndonomutora ndodzoka naye kumba akagara futi otiza achingoenda achidaro kupedzisira kuba zvinhu mumba. Iye hembe dzake dzese akapedza kutengesa zvese akasara asina hembe.
For many mothers in similar situations, dealing with drug and substance abuse by children is not an easy feat.
Zvitondirwadzawo because unenge uchitoona kuti mwana zvaanenge ari kuda kutopenga takatarisa because sometimes haagezi. Anogona kuita kana svondo asipo pamba paanodzoka pachona anenge achitoita kunge benzi, pamwe akavirikidza hembe dzine tsvina. Saka zvinhu zvinotongotirwadzawo, saka tirongotoda tawanawo kubatsirika, hurumende yatibatsira.
While for many music can be a form of release, Sharon believes that it triggered the drug and substance abuse by her son.
Angatori mwana aitoteerera, mwana anga asingatobe, waitoti chero ukasiya mari waitongowana iripo. But ndofunga paakazotanga zvekuda kuita zvemusic achienda kumbari, ndopa ndofunga kuti ndopa zvakatangira.
But where are the fathers in this matrix, as the mothers seem to be carrying the full burden of addiction in families? Sharon shares her husband's interventions.
Avatoshayo zvekuita naye, kozi vaitomborova, kuzopedzisira ndazovati muchazopedzisira mauraya, muzosungwa maimimi. Plus nekumubatira pamwe vakazonyatsotisanangurira vakati watourwere. Saka chero mukarova hazvigadzirisiki. Bozi ipapo totoona chero akasungwa, munoona futi anopara futi imwe mhosva. Saka takatonzi kusvikira munhu awana kurapwa. Saka ndiye ndichivatsanangurirawo ivo baba mameseji atinosenderwa kumbatira pamwe, ndiye ndichivafowadhirawo zvatinenge tadzidzawo toya tichingodhiskasa navo tichivatsanangurira, saka vakuzvinzwisisa.
Kumbatira pamwe drop-in center, it's an idea that came because of the overwhelming response that we were getting. Inquiries, parents were calling 24/7, they were overwhelmed. They didn't have sort of a place where they could call and ask all the questions they needed in regards to what was happening in the community or happening to their children.
It is also clear that mothers lose faith in their children after experiencing various drug-induced misdemeanors. This is further supported by Sharon.
Inini kozi wangu mwana, because dzimwe nguva anomboita kunge munhu adzoka. Saka ndogara ndichitaura naye. Ndotogara ndichimudza kuti zvemadrugs izvi unogona kupomerwa mhosva usiriwe kana kuti unogona kunge uriwe. Saka inini ndinotongomuti chero kanzi waba usiriwe, ini ndotongoti ndiwe. Because unomboba. Iwo siya zvemadrugs ndokuti usainvolve pakunzi waba kana kuti.
Even with such seemingly dire situations, community psychologist Noreen Dari has a different outlook.
When we talk about substance abuse disorder, it's a mental health condition where we are saying the person is not well. Maybe to use my Eshona word, it's like avajiyitise, which is a common belief in families where, you know what, just like you get things out of control, you can just stop this. Sometimes they may want to stop it, but it's like I'm saying, it's a condition where they are craving more of it and they need more of it to get a certain high, and it keeps coming on. So what I would just do is I would say, I'll give an example parallel to the physical health, which is what people understand more. So when someone has broken their limbs, they are involved in an accident or they fall and they broke their legs. Now that their legs are broken, no matter how much we motivate them, no matter how much we want it for them, no matter how much they want it for themselves, they are not able to stand up and walk because it's physically impossible as their legs are broken. So it is important even for families to understand that sometimes we may want more from those family members that are abusing substances. But it's not enough for us to want more. We need to also then acknowledge that this is an illness and they are battling something. It's not just like something that you snap in and snap out of. It's a condition that they are battling and they need the support of their family members to get better.
Many mothers seek encouragement and support in such trying times. Such outlets include churches. Bishop Emmanuel Bauer, who has been working intensively with youths, had this to say about the role of the church when it comes to drug and substance abuse.
We as a ministry, we have opened up our doors, to the people, who are actually struggling, with drugs. In actual fact, we don't, see them as an outclass, but we see them just as good as anybody else. And our church is actually open to, anyone. It's not for clean people, but it's for people who want God to change them, and that's how, we operate as a church. Of course, we have also gone out, to try, and reach them as well, and minister to them, so that their lives also can change.
Bishop Bauer also discouraged segregation among church members regarding drug and substance abuse, even the ostracizing of individuals as well as families.
There's, what we encourage, families within the church, we have children, we have that problem. Number one is to take it as a spiritual problem. What does that mean? It means prayer. They need to pray for them. Number two, they need to accept them in their condition. And to understand that it's not also their liking, but it's a condition. It's like, it's like cancer. It's like any other, condition that we can talk about. And certainly they don't need to be ostracized, and they need to be, helped, to be able, to come out of that condition. So we encourage, parents, number one, pray for your children. Number two, show them love. Number three, don't be judgmental, because they've already, they do have already a guilty conscience on themselves, and they know that what they are doing is not a good thing, so by judging them more and more, all you are simply doing is, pushing them, away, from the help that they might need, to get.
A mother's burden is the heaviest of all when a child is caught up in the web of addiction. There are many more untold stories, unwiped tears, and unresolved turmoil that these women face in the search of solutions to such situations. Mental health issues need to be prioritized in Zimbabwe, and maybe only then can many other mothers like Sifelani and Sharon dare to hope for a brighter, drug-free future for their children and many other generations to come.